not the hypest. Yesterday I was way more hype.
Yeah, you were pretty hype, and then immediately shut down as soon as we started playing Overwatch. And it led to a really great session of IRL streams that we went on at 4 a.m. last night.
My God, 4 a.m. is the best time to go on to IRL streams ever.
And
the greatest.
Welcome to the Hungover Podcast, episode 63, I think. This is a topical show where we talk about everything from video games to politics. Today we're going to be talking about IRL streaming, in real life streaming on twitch.tv. I'm one of your hosts, Julien.
I'm the other one, Ivan. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
You can catch this show.
The show on...
No, you go.
I was trying to just say it at the same time as you.
You can catch it on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And twitch.tv/jujubesgood live on Sundays in the evening time. I usually tweet it out, so you can tweet at me or follow me on twitch.tv/jujubesgood and twitter.com/jujubesgood. It's all in the description below. If you ever want to interact with us live and see all the bloopers and such. Ivan?
No.
Yeah, well. Okay.
What's up, my man?
It's over. Podcast is over. We start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what video games / media / movies / everything have you been consuming, and what did you drink last night?
Well, as you know, I'm not the video game guy mostly.
That's me.
I mostly only play Tilt or Watch.
Overtilt.
That's
what they call it.
That's what we decided. Overtilt. The worst game ever.
It was.
So, movies I checked out this week. I saw Isle of Dogs.
Nice. Very nice. That is the Wes Anderson joint, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not Spike Lee. You can't call it a joint.
Yeah, that's a copyrighted term.
Yeah.
Isle of Dogs was a pretty cool movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is a story that's centered in a fictional city in Japan.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is that it's like the languages that they use in there. So you can understand everything that the dogs say.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that like Japanese people say is spoken in Japanese, unless it's translated via like some apparatus or person, like a interpreter or a translation machine. So generally you don't even understand what any of the humans are saying.
Yeah.
Unless there's a special voiceover that's being done.
Cool.
And it's a stop motion film. It is I think it's more focused towards children, but it's a very adult friendly movie, even though it's kind of supposed to be like this blend of kids stuff and adult stuff. It's more overtly adult friendly than like a SpongeBob or a Jetsons or a Flintstones. And it's pretty good. I would say the thing that I would go see this movie in theaters, and I think that you'll be good. You don't need to own it. I don't think it's not one of the greatest things that has come into being. But it's a really cool looking movie, and because it's like that stop motion, it's got actually two mediums. So it's stop motion, but anything that's on like TV screens or something like that is actually 2D art. So it's like
that's
drawings.
Cool. So it's like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm. So it's multimedia in how it's done, and it's really interesting to look at. And I would really recommend going to see it in a theater, really checking it out in that atmosphere with that big screen. Because I think the visual effects are the things that will carry this movie into memory, not so much the plot or the acting really. But they got a lot of really famous people to do voices: Frances McDormand, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston,
Edward Norton,
All the usual Wes Anderson, Bill Murray, all the usual Wes Anderson gang is
He's
there.
like Quentin Tarantino. He only likes certain actors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that makes sense. They work well together, so they can create a better movie that way. So.
Exactly, and he used Alexander Desplat again, Desplat, however you pronounce his name. He's the same guy who did the music. He worked with Wes Anderson before on the Grand Budapest Hotel, and he also worked, and I think got the Oscar for the Guillermo del Toro movie. What was that? The fish sex film. What the hell is that called?
Shape of Water, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's one of the better active composers.
Okay.
And he also worked in combination with a Japanese taiko producer.
That's pretty cool.
There's a lot of like Japanese influenced sounds and rhythms and instruments being used within the score. It's a really well done score. I think the whole production is really, really well done.
I can't believe though that the Japanese would ostracize all dogs. They love corgis. Come on.
Yeah, that was like the one thing that I didn't necessarily think was bad. It was just a weird choice. Like, I don't know why this story had to be told in Japan. Like, I don't understand why it was set there in particular, other than having like a fascination with the culture, which is a little Orientalist. But I don't think it necessarily added anything. But it did.
It's not like offensive or anything,
right?
Yeah. But then again, I'm not Japanese.
Yeah, see previous podcast where I talked about Death of Stalin and how I don't like, if you're not from that culture, it's hard for you to understand.
Exactly right. That's a good point.
So it could be. I don't know. There was an article that you said was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I
forget.
Topic. I have to find it. I'll put it in the description. I have to find it. But there was an article, again, I don't know where it was from because I forgot, but I read through it, and they basically had, I think it was a Japanese American or a journalist went to go interview a bunch of people who had seen pre-screenings of this movie, but specifically wanted to talk to native Japanese speakers, or people specifically from Japan to get their opinion on the movie, whether or not it's as you say, like as you felt about the death of Stalin movie. But yeah, so it's an interesting read. Overall, it seems like from the tone of the paper, of the article, it's not like incredibly offensive or anything, and all the Japanese is actually pretty colloquial and made sense in the context and things like that. But it's sort of I don't know. I mean, I didn't see the movie, but I think the article said that it's sort of just like chatter in the background mostly. That's sort of how it's almost muffled a little bit, the audio of the Japanese, but that's obviously on purpose, I think, because the dogs wouldn't. If you don't understand a language, you generally have no idea the cadence of a language, so you don't really tune in exactly when you're listening. So makes sense. Yeah,
that also. I mean, I think it's partially explained in the thing, in the way that like the dogs interact with the Japanese speaking characters, and even I think the English speaking characters to an extent. I think it's. I don't know. I think it's worth going to see. Controversies aside, I think it's worth going to see.
I don't think there's any controversy that I can think of. I think it's a totally cool movie. It looks cool. I would want to see it, but I have my movie queue quota of the month coming up next month for frickin' Infinity War, because we have to do that for the podcast. The people want it, Yvonne. They want to hear our opinions on these nerdy movies. All right?
Which is why we want to see Ready Player One.
Yeah, well, look. I don't need to go that far. Jesus Christ, you guys are asking a lot. I will see Infinity War, and I will try to see it within the first week so we can do a review podcast. Because we're running out of podcast topics. Let's be honest here.
You do one a week, and you don't do a lot during the week. It really tends to crunch your numbers.
Yes. So, did you see anything else, or?
I did. The other movie that I saw is, I think, the best movie I've seen in movie theaters probably since Get Out.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
And Dunkirk.
Big claims here.
I really enjoyed Dunkirk. So, I went to see John Krasinski's A Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah.
This is, of course, a movie that was made with his wife, Emily Blunt. It's a very interesting, horror, sci-fi thriller movie about several years in the future. Earth is invaded by some sort of monsters that if you make loud noises, they can detect you and kill you. Mm-hmm. And the movie starts like a short period after the invasion or whatever the inciting thing is. They don't really they don't broadcast it. I think it is like an alien. They don't necessarily broadcast that. There are like hints throughout the movie in like newspaper articles that are posted everywhere. So if you like stop motioned it, you could probably read through. But from the fragments that you see, you just understand that they came out of nowhere and started attacking people.
I see.
And it's really, really fantastic. This is a horror thriller movie that has a lot of stakes to it, and it makes it super suspenseful.
That's awesome. And also, I assume the audio is stellar because you can't make any loud sounds, right? Yeah, this is one of the best movies to go see at a movie theater that takes being quiet seriously. But also not the Alamo Drafthouse. Everyone's gonna be eating something.
I also think that this is a movie where people are actively like shushing each other or like calming their own selves down. Because this movie is so quiet. Like the music and the music cues are very sparse.
That's
so
cool.
The movie itself is super quiet. So like in the opening moments of the movie, there's almost no sound. And you're following one of the characters who actually is deaf. Mm-hmm. So when it's following her in specific moments, it mirrors that in which you don't hear any sound.
Could you hear the projector? Do they do projectors anymore?
No, it's all digital, man.
It's all digital anyways. Never mind.
No, I couldn't hear the projector, but I could hear the fat fuck sitting next to me eating his box of fucking caramel corn or whatever.
Damn.
That I don't even know where he
Candy
got.
corn?
It was caramel popcorn. It was or something else. It was the crunch. It was like he was chewing glass and bolts.
Christ.
It was so loud, and whoever he was there with had no shoes on and was just putting their bare feet on the railing in front of them.
What the fuck?
This was the worst couple to ever grace the movies with me. Other than the one time where I went to see James Bond, the new James Bond film. It's literally an almost empty 3D IMAX theater, except for the one couple that's like one row behind me and 3 seats over that talks through the entire fucking movie.
Dude.
There are 8 people in the movie theater, and these 2 came in and sat there after the movie had started and talked through the entire fucking movie.
Lords, what is wrong with people, man? You can't do that. You just can't do that. God.
Anyway, A Quiet Place is absolutely a movie you need to see in theaters. You need to go out and watch it today, tomorrow, at your nearest opportunity. It's incredibly intense. The production is really well done. The sound is amazing. The suspenseful thriller moments, I think, are awesome.
Okay.
In general, I think the movie is really well done. It's not anything that's like... So what I'm trying to say by this is like, this is probably the best movie that I've seen in like the past year. Mm-hmm. But...
That's impressive.
It's not a very high degree of difficulty. So, like, the analogy that I like to use is like when you're like figure skating or something or gymnastics, right? you could do the double loop and nail it, right? And you could get your full points for that. But there are other people out there doing the quads. And even if they don't land it perfectly, they still get more points because it's a harder thing to do.
Uh-huh.
So, like, Get Out and Dunkirk, and even, like, movies like Phantom Thread, which I thought were okay, but these are movies that have a higher degree of difficulty because they're trying to present a much more complex level of storytelling than, like, this kind of thriller is doing.
Okay.
And so it's much harder to make that a perfect movie. But this movie, with a lower degree of difficulty, is as good as it can get, and it nails it really hard.
Well, sometimes...
this is my double thumbs up approval.
You gotta go with what's tried and true. A silent movie. That Dracula, or whatever. It wasn't the first Dracula movie, silent. Oh,
Probably.
Man.
Or
it's tough to watch silent movies, but I assume
The
this
Artist?
movie is way different. The Artist, yeah, that was cool. I kind of like that movie.
I really like that movie. I thought that movie was deserving of its win, even if everybody else doesn't think so.
Yeah, no, wasn't it also in black and white, that movie?
Yeah, it was
Or parts
majority
of it,
black and
at
white and
least.
silent.
Yeah, that was cool.
Really dull.
Anything else?
No, that was about it for me. Other than that, I watched Psych a little bit and started rewatching Weeds.
Oh boy, the first 2 seasons of Weeds are pretty good.
They're really good.
The rest of the show is really questionable.
It's really mediocre.
It's just really mediocre. But yeah, that's how I feel about the first 4 seasons of Dexter, and yeah, and maybe, and I don't know, I haven't watched The Walking Dead. So about me, I've been playing a bunch of video games. So while you saw the best movie, I mean, surprise, surprise, someone's got to play the video games on the gaming channel, Ivan. Jesus Christ. All right. While you saw the greatest movie you've seen in a year, I think I've played the greatest video game I've played in a year since Horizon Zero Dawn.
What? Octopath Traveler?
No. Sorry, Breath of the Wild, not Horizon Zero Dawn.
Almost had him.
No, I played God of War. This game just came out on the 20th
Really
for
good?
PS4s and PS4 Pro, and it's exclusive to the system. So if you have a PS4, I cannot stress more that you need to get this game. This game is absolutely amazing, from story, graphics, gameplay, atmosphere. The coolest thing about this game, I think, is, I mean, this is a game from a long running series of God of War games that were completely different in style and tone. They were way more arcadey, and the character Kratos, who is also in this game, was way more, let's say, angry and one-noted. He's just a boring character, honestly, I think. And I never really played those games that much. I mean, I know they were fun. The gameplay was really good, and the cool set pieces that you do in the game are super awesome. This game, however, decides to take it from Greek mythology into Norse mythology, Nordic mythology, which is a really cool change in tone, because while you have in the original God of Wars, you have sort of, Greek set pieces and things like that. Now we've completely changed the setting, so now it's sort of, like Iceland or Greenland, and you have sort of like Viking era stuff. You have a cool boat that you go on, and
you have all of Scandinavia to choose from.
Yes.
And you pick Iceland and Greenland.
That's where I'm gonna go. All right. It's really cold. I don't know. It's
Not
really
Svalbard, yeah.
Sweden for the last time. I'm Swedish. Don't talk to Overwatch about me. But it's really cool because it completely changes the aesthetic of the game. Now you're in sort of like a mountainous,
He's got a
snowy
beard
area.
now.
Huh?
He's got a beard now.
And he has a
Kratos.
beard, which is really cool. His beard looks so good in, well, I assume it looks good in 4K. I don't have a PS4 Pro. But the coolest thing about this game is that it's all one shot. So in movies, we had a couple of movies, I think last year just Birdman, right? Tried to do one shot, or at least a couple of scenes were really long shots. Do you understand what I'm saying?
There's a Russian movie called The Russian Ark, which is all one shot.
Yeah.
The entire movie.
Right. So this game is all one shot. There are no cuts. There's no loading screens. There's nothing. You just play through the whole game. And it's really about, if you saw any trailers or anything, it's about Kratos and his relationship with his son. And I really don't want to spoil any of the game. I think that we should. Honestly, I highly suggest you get this game and stop playing Overwatch and just play this game. And we should do a review of the game later with spoilers, because I think this game is something special. The voice acting is really awesome, and even the NPCs are really cool. You meet these two dwarves that are actually really funny, and really well acted. So I'm super excited to play more of this game. And even Atreus, his son, who, usually when you have a kid that you have to, carry along in the game, from any game, even The Last of Us, it got a little annoying with Ellie. I think that was her name, whatever, the little girl that you're with. Atreus he's really useful in combat, and he solves puzzles for you, and it's really cool. So he's actually a useful character, and he's not annoying as some kids are that we watched on IRL streams.
I was going to say in real life.
In real life. I also got, unfortunately for Yakuza, it came out the same week that God of War came out, but Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, came out on Tuesday last week.
Also known as Shenmue 2.5.
Shenmue 2.5, I don't think so. This game has been going on for way longer than Shenmue, I think. Yes, because Yakuza was a PS1 game. I think Shenmue was a PS2 game. No, Shenmue is a Dreamcast game. So maybe they technically have been going on for the same amount of time, but Shenmue has only put out 2 games as opposed to 6 games. Yakuza is way more... The
original Yakuza is a PlayStation 2 game.
Is a PlayStation 2 game. Okay, so then Shenmue came out before Yakuza. But Yakuza has been going on for 2 decades, I think. Or 1 decade, I guess. Almost 2 decades now, right? The first one must have come out in 2002 or 2001.
2005.
5?
Released in Japan.
Okay,
North
it
America
takes
in
place...
2006.
So 1 decade. So over the course of 1 decade...
1999 is Shenmue, so I was more right than wrong, buddy.
My point is, this is the end of Kiryu, the main character's story. And
No.
I'm sorry, what?
I said no. How could it be?
Okay, yeah. I'll stop talking
I'm
about this
attempting
Japanese
to add
game.
into the Yakuza discussion with a game that I enjoyed watching, but know nothing about.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you that this story is it's a decade-long story, pretty much. I guess it came out in 2005. It's 2018, and very rarely do you see in video gaming a story that has a definitive beginning, and middle, and end for a long-running series like this. I guess Metal Gear Solid might be the only other reference that I have, and let's be honest, that story wasn't finished.
Assassin's Creed had a long run there.
Yeah,
with,
it's still
Ezio.
going though. So what I'm saying,
with Ezio.
yeah, Ezio that's a good example. Ezio is the other one that of recent times is still it had a beginning, middle, and end. So that was cool. Even though I don't particularly like Assassin's Creed game, but to each their own. But very rarely in video gaming do you have such a long overarching story, and
6 games is a lot for one character.
Yeah, I think this game is really cool. It's more it's an open world sort of brawler game. with RPG mechanics, of course, like every game now. But it's sort of like GTA in that you get to go around this really interesting city. But I think this is a way more, the reason why I like this game as opposed to GTA, I don't really like GTA, is because it's actually an interesting aesthetic and locale to me anyways. I think Japan is a little more interesting than LA personally, or wherever the last GTA took place in. I think it was LA. And then it actually has an interesting story that's going on with the Yakuza Tojo clan going on.
Helping the orphans.
Yeah, some goddamn orphans, all right? It's a ridiculous story. So you get this whole crazy drawn out intense story between these Yakuza, and they fight triads and I guess some other gangs, and then you also get to break up the monotony and go do some wacky side quests. Like I had to help so dumb. This character, I think it's the first side quest that you pick up, and I guess you don't have to do any of the side quests, but this guy, his girlfriend is breaking up with him, and because he's spending too much time in a live chat, sort of like IRL streams, which will totally go, it's literally IRL streams. Literally, yeah. He was spending too much time talking to an attractive woman in an IRL stream, and he decided that he's going to try, and I basically ended the side quest with him thinking that he didn't need a girlfriend and he could just devote all his time to IRL streams. And it was really weird, but it was kind of interesting. So yeah, there's some weird Japanese context that maybe it's more popular in Japan, but I beg to differ because there's a lot of people in America watching Twitch streams, and I think that's a good enough transition of ever. Let's talk about IRL streams, Ivan. What do you think of them so far?
They're the top 4. On Twitch, of the top most popular being watched right now, obviously Fortnite is number 1. Mm-hmm. God of War, new one.
It's not League of Legends. League of LOL.
League is only 3rd, and actually both God of War doubles the viewership.
I cannot believe, by the way, sorry, God of War is pulling such large numbers. It's so crazy, but it's got a lot of great reviews.
It's a real popular franchise.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that more popular than Fortnite. It's so crazy. But I know it's popular, but I didn't know it was that popular. I guess I was wrong. But anyways, IRL, 4th.
IRL
consistently
has
4th.
Currently 64,000 people watching, almost 65.
Over the 30 or 100 people streaming. So last night, Ivan, what did we do? After coming off a win streak in Overwatch, we decided to relax a little and just hang out and watch some IRL streams together.
Yeah, but we're not going to watch the top IRL streams because that's just ridiculous. Who would any person could just watch the top streams? Yeah. No, we drilled down to the very bottom, the 3 to 0 viewership range.
Oh my god,
that's where we were. There was one guy one kid who was filming him play Fortnite on his Xbox with a camera phone pointed at it that was being held by somebody or something. Eventually, a finger or some body part got in front of the lens. Despite the fact that he could just stream from the Xbox to Twitch. Perhaps he forgot his password.
For this purpose. What are you doing?
Perhaps he forgot his Twitch password and thus could not do that.
Oh my god.
But we also watched several variety streams. There was a late night talk show we stopped into.
Yeah.
I asked the guy why he was wearing sunglasses at 3 a.m. and he said he was very high and that the screens were very bright.
Yes.
And then we watched a woman with a very bad camera and a built-in headphone mic just talking to the computer.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, I think. She was just getting talked to by the chat. She had about 40 viewers at the time, I think, and she was just there in her house. It looked like she was sitting in front of a stairwell, so I was a little worried for her if she were to lean back. I don't know. You got some weird setups, but yeah, so where do we start here? There's a IRL is, I think, the widest variety of one category on Twitch. So because a lot of people will end up just streaming video games in IRL, I've seen,
Or
anime, which I think
you see a lot of.
honestly, I'd do that if I mean, not like the Twitch cops are gonna come after me, but honestly, I would do that. I feel like that one is not so bad because now you're just watching anime with your favorite personality in IRL streaming, I guess, which could be somewhat interesting. But then you get a lot of these women who are playing Just Dance or some whatever dancing game it is, and they're just dancing with very little clothing on. So yeah, there's
for sure some sort of very supportive undergarment.
Yes. And I think that's what's drawing the majority of viewership, because I believe, if you had to guess, Vaughn, what gender would you say the majority of Twitch viewers are? Probably.
I would say the overwhelming majority of Twitch viewers are male.
Yeah,
but what
heterosexual
I think is interesting is that IRL, it feels like the section where that you would have the greatest number of gender balance.
Yeah. But
right? In general. But because Twitch is such a male-dominated platform, it's still one of those things. Although I don't actually know the numbers on it. I think this is just surmising from the possibility of Twitch being a mostly gaming-focused platform, which is a mostly male-dominated thing.
Yeah.
In terms of social media, the only female-dominated social media that I know of is like the Pinterest,
or I feel like Tumblr has gotta be.
No, yeah, the Tumblr machines.
I know my girlfriend uses Tumblr a lot, which is fine. Whatever. I don't use Tumblr that often. No, I don't use Tumblr at all. I don't know how to use Tumblr. I don't really know what it is, honestly. But that's whatever.
It's kind of like
it's like Reddit, but
a picture-based forum. I think.
I see. Okay.
IRL is such an interesting thing because IRL is ASMR. It is talk shows. It is just people looking at cameras and talking to them. It is eating. It's Andy Milonakis doing whatever Andy Milonakis does.
And that one guy that was in Osaka that you talked to.
Yeah, I did. I felt really bad because I left his stream as soon as he started answering my questions. There's crypto analysis. There's 543 people watching how cryptocurrency is going up and down. There are people just watching YouTube videos, as we see here. There's the San Diego Zoo. In general, IRL is this vast amount of thing. Of course, we know that the most popular IRL streamer for a long time, or one of the most populars, was Ice Poseidon, who received a permanent ban from Twitch in April.
Why was he banned again? I'm sorry.
He got swatted on an American Airlines flight that he was taking.
Ooh.
And this was his second swat. And he, if you look at the statistics of which channel used TryHard7 the most, that would be Ice Poseidon's channel. So just to give you an idea of what the culture was like on his stream. Yeah. I don't think it was a really community positive oriented stream.
I see.
We'll put it that way. It was a lot of pranks and shenanigans and doing crazy things and wild things. Oh my god.
That tryhard. There he is. That tryhardy man in the chat. Welcome to the stream, dude.
in general, I think that Ice Poseidon was a very controversial figure, and IRL is one of the most It is something that is very difficult to handle from any kind of content censorship and or curation point of view. So how do you deal with people in terms of where are they being too sexually explicit? Are they being racist or bigoted? Where is the vector of free speech on Twitch as a platform? Where is the magnitude of allowing people to express themselves fully through clothing, word choice, content choice, etc.? So as a platform, Twitch knows pretty well how to deal with that in terms of the gaming realm. But IRL is this totally
literally
different kind of beast, right? Because it is the cornucopia of everything that you can imagine. So how do you think that Twitch... So one of the big controversies that Twitch has come into in terms of IRL streaming has been the bikini streamers or something like that. So, what do you think of Twitch's handling of that?
I think
controversy.
If I understand correctly, they've sort of cracked down on them a little more. They're not allowed to basically be naked on camera, essentially, and they have moderators in the IRL stream category, I assume, that are monitoring the majority of the streams, or at least the streams that are getting the most viewership, to give people strikes and things like that. I don't know exactly how they've handled it, to be honest with you, but I know they've become more. They're starting to regulate it more and more. I don't know. They're not acting. I mean, then again, I don't think we saw anything that was too bad. When we checked last night, I honestly don't think we did. It was ridiculous what we saw, but I don't think it was like. I honestly don't think it was even. Maybe the chat was bad, but the person streaming, I don't think they did anything wrong. Personally, I don't know about you, but what?
This is okay.
Yeah.
Let's put forth the fact that this is a very delicate topic to talk about.
Yes.
Especially by two dudes of cis orientation. It's how to put this delicately. I think it is odd and or strange to be exploitative or overtly sexual when streaming video games in order to increase viewership. However, I understand that there's a bunch of thirsty people out there, mostly thirsty men, who are tuning in exactly for that. So if there's an audience for it, why not use that to get the juice?
Yeah.
You know?
That's all I'm saying.
I think in general, we as a society need to figure out...
In America. Or the world.
Globally. But we can start with America.
Yeah.
What is our relationship with like sexuality and content and using that to gain viewership and sponsorship and ad revenue and donations and things like that?
Right.
What exactly are you attempting to do if you wear, like, if I go shirtless for a stream, or not me in particular, but somebody who is in more like a better shape, and or like versus like what is the idea behind it, and then what are you trying to? What is it that people are donating to see then? Is it your gameplay? Is it your personality? Or is it your physical attractiveness?
Well, I think it changes for every donation, honestly. A lot of people actually like these people and have formed a sort of pseudo relationship with them and codependency. they love their favorite entertainer on Twitch, and that person interacts with them, and sometimes maybe that's the only person that interacts with them. It's like there are a lot of people on Twitch, and I don't think it's mutually exclusively. I think for the tits, gotta see that girl online, man. She's so hot. I don't think it's exclusively that. I think the majority of the people watching those streamers, I think you're right that a lot of them are, but are there to see the women that are doing whatever they're doing. I don't know, and not for the gameplay. Some of them for the gameplay, some of them for the personality, and then the majority of them probably because it's some hot girl playing video games.
So, for instance, like Zoe Berger is a person who is a bikini streamer, and she is banned from Twitch, but is able to stream on YouTube.
Right.
And it's a strange thing. Like, you have to balance out the general acceptance of freedom of expression, our weird relationship to sexuality in this country in particular.
Yeah.
And what this statement is saying, like, we have to balance out our ideas of feminism and female gaming and expressions of sexuality, and is it expression of sexuality just to wear a bikini while you're streaming? Like, is it her fault that people are so thirsty to see her content and are donating for that in particular, if that's what they choose to donate for? Like, it's such a strange thing, but I think to handle, going back to like IRL streams, right? It's this basic thing of trying to handle, like, that she's at least playing a video game when she's doing that.
Some women are.
Imagine like Zoe in particular.
Oh, okay.
But imagine that same like a bikini streamer or not even a bikini streamer, but somebody who is in tight push-up bra or whatever, or a man who's doing the same kind of exploitative thing, whether it be like a workout stream or something like that, where they're in workout clothing. Like, content matters. So like the rules I think for Twitch is that you can be in a bikini if it's like appropriate. Like if you're on a beach, and you're IRL streaming, then that's appropriate. So it's so strange. It's just, my mind is being blown by like the amount of weirdness that I feel when I'm talking about this topic in particular, because I'm super unsure where I stand on it. As a person who's trying to grow his channel, I find it really upsetting that I'm not attractive enough personally to be able to attract an audience, right?
Right.
And that I'm jealous of these people who are super attractive to be able to do that.
Well,
I
mean, I think that if you think, I mean, look, no one's holding a gun to these women's heads and forcing them to do this on stream, I don't think. But I think I guess you're trying to come from it from a perspective that this country, well, I guess we'll just talk specifically about America, is even though actually a lot of these streamers are from different countries, or at least they're not speaking only English, I think.
I'm trying to get my eyes so that they're not keyed out.
I know. You're making it worse. It's great.
This is
I need to work with it. I got this. Sorry, it's what you get when you watch this live, and also it doesn't. I gotta decrease this now.
It's because the light in this room has changed.
Yeah, I know.
Because the natural, even though I've got a curtain over it.
That's better. Anyways, I mean, I think that. I mean, if it's, they're making a living, they're being safe, because they're just streaming from their house, and I guess I see what you're saying in that I don't know, maybe they're sort of in some ways just being forced to take advantage of their sexuality. or attractiveness to the majority of their audience. And then instead of doing something maybe that they would want to stream, I don't know, maybe something creative. But I don't know the motivation behind a lot of these streamers. So I don't know until we can get that sort of perspective. And then, of course, it's different for every streamer. Then I don't know if we can pass down judgment on all of them. That's what I want to say.
My issue wasn't passing down judgment.
Yeah,
it was like,
that's true.
How does Twitch as a platform handle the content of IRL in those terms?
Right.
Like, for instance, K Pike Fashion, right?
Yeah, she's really cool.
She's so incredibly talented and like a generally nice personality to like view, and she's built up a really good rapport with her community. She has really great moderators and everything, and she's super talented in terms of getting her body painting done. So I think that is an example of like somebody who is both personality talented that I've seen, because I never watched Zoe Berger, for instance. So this is K Pike, at least, is someone who's, in my opinion, very physically attractive, but her personality shines through in her stream, and she's also exceedingly talented in terms of being able to like do these body paint images, which are so spectacular. So like, how does Twitch as a platform handle that kind of thing, where it's like body paint, right?
Right.
That's generally a weird topic. Like, it's not technically closed, but if you apply like pasties and you're covering it up with paint, that kind of works as covering things up, right? That's a weird topic in general.
Well, but I think Twitch is obviously, this is IRL streams have sort of, I think, really come into popularity very recently in terms of the whole Twitch medium. I mean, people have been streaming video games for a pretty long time, especially now because capture cards are so abundant and pretty easy to get if you're willing to spend the money on them. And as opposed to how they were maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when we were in college. So a lot of people, a lot more people can stream. Obviously, we jumped on the bandwagon. We're late to the game. We suck. But thanks for tuning in anyways. But I think IRL streams specifically have sort of really become much more popular in the past year or two. And so Twitch wasn't necessarily ready for that. I don't think they didn't know what was going to happen in IRL streaming. And especially now, where people can even stream just from their phones, so they can stream literally anywhere, walking around. Like, I watched this woman and her friend. They were just walking around Taipei in a mall, and I think that's horrifying. I would never do that. Especially when she had 200 people. Maybe that's not like a lot of people, but I think that's certainly way more than I'll ever get watching me at once. So when I just stream video games, but that's so crazy that if someone recognized where she was, which a lot of her viewers were speaking Chinese to her or typing Chinese to her, then they could find her. It's so crazy. I would never stream IRL outside near recognizable things. I think that's really scary, and a lot of people are doing it. So I don't know. That's another thing that I hope everyone's safe when they do IRL streaming. But yeah, I agree.
I mean, you do have people like Ice Poseidon who literally got swatted on his
right,
on
like
his
you
flight.
Said. Yeah.
So that's pretty intense. It is this weird thing, where we've reached this level of it's not because YouTube channels in and of themselves are a lot of the time super narcissistic, right? Mm-hmm. So it's this blend of trying to tap into creative energy and that kind of thing, but also wanting people to recognize you for it.
Yeah, that's
it can be
what
very,
it's about.
Very personal.
Totally.
And very putting yourself into the spotlight.
I don't think that's particularly, maybe not for every YouTube channel, but I think the majority of the ones that are, at least the ones that are popular, I would say I agree with you. Yeah.
And I think that you can see a lot of that going through in terms of Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get IRL streams, so now it's not just like video games, because video games does have this kind of like communal aspect. Like I'm trying to excise like from how I speak for the rest of the podcast. It is an attempt to normalize or create a community based around something that you enjoy that isn't a commonly obvious thing. Like, you don't usually go into an arena and watch video games being played unless you're in South Korea or whatever, right? But in America,
or Blizzard,
it isn't
Blizzard Arena,
right? In America, it's not this. It's not that level of communal event. So, what did the internet plus the video game community do? We created a online community where we can talk to and share with people who are enjoying similar video games or similar perspectives on things, or who can challenge our ideas in ways that make us excited to interact with, right? And that's part of what Twitch became.
Yeah.
Or Twitch came out of. It's that idea of creating an internet community based around, okay, I really like playing X, Y, or Z game. Like, I only stream Overwatch because it's the only game that I find interesting enough to play hours of that I think other people would like to see as well. And I want other people to talk to me about Overwatch because it's a game I want to improve on. So that is a major reason why I will stream Overwatch. But I also have super narcissism. I want people to see me playing or talk to me.
We know. We know, Ivan. We know.
And it's not like I want everybody in the world to see me, but I want people to interact with me and to be kind of an expressive personality, because I enjoy that. And it also gives this limited amount of, like, even introverted people who gain energy from being by themselves or in small groups can feel much more comfortable with this kind of thing rather than being in crowds.
Yeah.
So IRL is one of those things where you've taken that gaming community and you've moved it into everyday life, and now I think for me, IRL moves a lot away from that kind of community oriented focus to a lot more look at me and look at what I'm doing.
Right.
And it's kind of like that social media, that Facebook, that Instagram avatar of look how cool I am or look how cool what I'm doing is, rather than being a community-oriented thing. I don't know. What do you think?
I see what you're saying. No, I see what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. I think it's sort of like we had a conversation a long time ago about food pictures. What are they called?
Food porn.
Food porn. People taking pictures of food just to post it on their social media. They might not even enjoy the meal. I don't know. That is like, just enjoy the goddamn experience that you paid for. But then again, you paid for it. So generally, some people make the food. I don't know. But yeah, I think that sort of same mentality goes into a lot of IRL streams. Although I think there are some, for instance, some IRL, I don't want to just group it into all IRL streams. A lot of them, though, however, do definitely use that to their advantage, and also financial advantage, literally. And I can't believe people have found a way to monetize just existing now. But yeah, that is pretty impressive, but also a little, as you said, narcissistic, or a lot of narcissism. It's a lot of, I think that this is, again, going back to another conversation we had about social media. I think this is a lot of what a lot of people in general have always wanted, and this is just how they've always been. Just always thinking inward and always thinking about themselves and we've just been given the tools to, I guess, share it with everyone else and express and use that as a way of expression, I guess, through Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, things like that. So I think these are just natural tendencies to a lot of people. I think, like, when you give someone a mirror, they're going to be looking at themselves in the mirror, right? That's the point of a mirror, but they're going to be trying to figure out, do I look good? What's going on? So I think that's just a natural instinct for humans, but it is now, I guess, sort of a little. It's exaggerated in IRL streams, I suppose. But that's my opinion on that. But I agree, Twitch should probably do a better job of regulating it. I'm not entirely sure how or what they're going to do. But I hope everyone stays safe in those IRL streams. I don't know. I don't want to see anyone die on camera. That's so crazy.
That's what Live Leak is for.
Yes, that's what it's for. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is obviously an ongoing topic, an ongoing story from the Hungover Gaming News channel.
Meanwhile, I know I'm on a list from our set of streams that we watched last night, because the majority of them are like little kids, like literally 10 years and younger.
Yeah, that was bad. We shouldn't have done that. They also shouldn't be. I think there should be you should be 18 years or older to stream IRL, at least.
I think so too. I think you should be like 16 or older to stream, period.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or make YouTube videos, I think. But
I don't know.
But
it's
the Wild West, man. It's crazy out here.
It's so scary to me.
It's crazy out here.
Especially, like, there are literally, like, in IRL, there are little kids who their only goal is to, like, have people watch them in IRL.
Yeah.
Now, little kids are streaming. And what if predators?
What if they're streaming outside because they have a smartphone now? Because they can do that.
Yeah, we saw one kid who was practicing soccer in his backyard.
I don't know if that was backyard, but he was just playing soccer outside in the open. Granted, he could have been anywhere. There were no really identifiable things, landmarks.
But we also don't know where he was from, like Sweden or something.
Yeah, that was scary. Why are the internet can be a really great place. It can also be a really weird place where you just watch things like that. But we didn't watch them for long, we swear.
The longest we watched was the kid who was using his phone to film his Fortnite game footage. And he died, so he was just watching somebody play. So he wasn't even playing. He was watching somebody play, and we were watching his TV. And then his little sister or somebody kept walking back and forth. And we were only watching it because it's fucking hilarious. Invest in a tripod or just use the Xbox.
Yeah, just use the Xbox that you have. What is going on?
Oh, it was super funny.
But Ivan, I feel like we've talked enough about IRL streaming.
Yeah, most people would have tuned out by now.
I know. Keep the conversation going in the comment section below. If anything else evolves in the IRL story and on Twitch, we will probably revisit it. Perhaps if someone ends up getting killed on an IRL stream, maybe we'll talk about it again. What will Twitch do then? Who knows? So. Yeah, Ivan, thanks so much for talking to me about IRL streaming. Thanks for showing me all those sweet IRL streams at 4 a.m. last night. That was really fun.
We did it until 5:30.
I know. We were watching IRL streams for an hour and a half, guys. And we started at 4 a.m. Why? Why? And then we talked about it for about an hour today. Yeah, so thanks again, Ivan. Of course, you guys may or may not know, we end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio, where you, the listener or viewer, can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com. Yes, a song you wrote or co-produced or whatever. Maybe your friend wrote it and they want free advertisement. We will play it at the end of the audio portion of the podcast and link it out in the video portion. But if no one sends in a song, then I get to pick one, and I will pick a video game song because I love video game music. And also we won't get a copyright strike, and I don't have to edit it twice to take it out, put it in, take it out. But all right, it gets annoying. Anyways, today I'm going to be playing Lost Woods from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time because I really love this game. And this is one of the best songs from it. So, Ivan, you know, we talked about IRL streaming, but I think you're going to be doing some streaming later tonight. What games are you going to stream? Or what game?
Overwatch.
Overwatch sounds good to me. We still got to climb the ladder. Overtilt. I got back to 1899 Ivan last night at the end of our winning streak. I think we can push our way to plat and gold today. Maybe not plat for you.
Fucking yo.
What's your SR currently?
I have no idea. 23 something.
That's the best
21 something.
Why? Whatever. Anyways, thanks so much for listening to the Hungover podcast. Of course, don't forget you can get this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play, but also in video form on YouTube, and you can catch it live on twitch.tv/jujubesgood or twitch.tv/comradeboyer. I'm one of your hosts, Julien.
I'm the other Ivan. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.